Hello, welcome back to KSP Career Playthrough. This is episode 6. Last episode we went to orbit. We built the first satellite and went to orbit, and now we are going to get a Kerbal up there to perform EVAs and get some more science. In order to do that, we have to upgrade the astronaut complex. We can afford that. But see here, upgrading that allowed us to perform EVAs and place flags, etc., etc. When I upgrade the R&D center, then Kerbals can collect surface samples, but we don't have to worry about that until we start going to the moon. Alright, so I'm just going to make a quick modification of the rocket we used last time. Alright, down here we got ourselves a sub-assembly. I'm just going to pull this off. Actually, I'm going to throw that away. Connect it here and then pull it off. We'll just call it rocket. Okay, so now we're going to go to a new craft. Don't save. And we need to get a capsule. Take the flag off. And we need some thermal protection. So yeah, this episode we're just gonna build our craft, and then it might take 10 minutes or so, and then we might get one flight off, I'm not sure yet. Then next episode we'll definitely go to orbit and get our EVAs. Alright, so far so good. We could put this little fuel tank up here. Wouldn't really do us any benefit. If I could change the color, then I would. It would make it look more like a Mercury spacecraft. But we have this ready to go. Get our decoupler. Essentially, I could just attach the rocket from the sub-assemblies that we built right here. I didn't need to do a decoupler. And I am quite certain that that will go to orbit. Just checking my staging here. Let's call it Moho Vehicle 2. Why not? So this thing has quite a bit of delta V. Just checking my thrust, make sure it's all still good. And I need to get some strut connectors again. Perfect. We'll save that. Alright, so I don't really need any science items. And it's only because I've already gathered the science from space. I'm trying to get to orbit and just collect EVAs at this point. We need to make sure that Jebediah or Valentine are flying, otherwise we have no SAS control. And I think I am just going to add in another SAS module down here just to assist in our stability. Alright, that looks good. Alright, so we are going to launch this. Didn't take as long as I thought. We'll get to orbit and try to collect all our EVAs and return back to Kerbin, and we'll call that an episode. Alright, SAS on, throttle down. I like to launch in the morning time because it gives me plenty of daylight when going to orbit. But actually, in this particular case, I kind of want to launch more over here so I can have the... I want to kind of launch just past midday so the desert here is available, or is visible, and the mountains. I want to know when I'm over these mountains right here, so I can EVA at each biome. Alright, Getting ready to launch. 3, 2, 1. This flight will be a lot easier because Jebediah can actually maintain SAS stability while we fly. I probably should have put some RCS thrusters on this just in case. That way I can have backup plan that if I run out of fuel I can at least get back into the atmosphere. But we'll just play it safe and make sure we don't put Jebediah Carmen in a situation where we have to go save him. Alright, our first stages are going nicely here. We haven't had any tilting or aerodynamic issues. We're getting ready to engage the core stage. Start my turn and go to map view. This rocket is quite stable with those 2 SAS modules on it, so I'm not too concerned about a heavy turn here. Let's probably get down to 65 degrees, and we'll just sort of let the rocket take over from there, push our apoapsis up closer to space. Usually once I'm above 50 I start trying to shift my turn down to 45 or less depending on how fast I'm accelerating. We're almost there. We still have plenty of delta V left in our solid rocket booster. I'm going to continue my turn down to 45. Just go 40 degrees right there, that way we are increasing our tangential velocity. And this will definitely get us out of the atmosphere. Once we get close to 70, I want to continue turning and increasing my tangential. That way when I do engage the Terrier engine, I'm engaging it with as much tangential velocity as possible to save fuel in the long run. Alright. Throttles back. Decoupling. Successful. Alright, to make this a little easier, I'm going to go into ×2 warp. That way I can continue the ×2 warp even in space. And starting my throttle up. See, the key here is you don't want to have your throttle go too high and let your apoapsis run away from you. You're burning most efficiently when you're near your apoapsis. At least when you're going towards orbit. We're trying to come back into land. You see how I'm keeping my throttle down and letting my vessel approach the apoapsis. It's going to start running away here soon, and then I'll throttle back a little bit. And then you can use the tilt to your pitch up and down to control it after that. So it's starting to run away, so we'll throttle back to half. It's still running away. Keeping that apoapsis right in front of me. You don't really want it to be right on top of you because you run the risk of passing it and then you're wasting fuel. Continue throttling. I usually go until I'm about 15th right here on this line. And then I just use my tilt control after that. There we go. So we're still approaching the apoapsis. Our periapsis is going to show up here in a little bit. So now as this apoapsis starts to push away from me, you can tilt back towards the horizon to keep it near you. And if you get to the horizon, just go below the horizon. See how it's starting to approach really quickly now? There it is. So we're trying to make this as circular as possible right out of the gate. Pretty darn close right there. We're now in orbit. And now it's time to start EVAing. Perfect. That was over the water, so we missed our chance for the grasslands and shore, so I'll try to get it on this little peninsula right here. No, that was water again. Water, shores, board. We're gonna miss the grasslands again, I believe. Oh, we got it. Alright. Next, we're going to go all the way around till we get to these mountains and highlands and then desert. And then we'll probably do one more orbit and come back for a landing. So we're just going to continue our orbit all the way around. The mountains are right here, mountains and highlands. And if you do a pretty good equatorial orbit, you're almost guaranteed to hit those mountains. Second here. Another way to make this easier is you can go into Kerbin view. That way you can sort of align the mountains up with your orbit and just wait until you're there. Alright, EVA. There's the mountains. Then we can go a little further and try to grab hold of the highlands, which are right there. Mountains again. Mountains. As we're doing this, we're flying over Kerbin, so it's changing as we go. Alright. Let's get over the desert. I'm going to try to... I'll save the landing for the desert for a different time. Alright. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start burning retrograde right here, and we'll just see where that'll bring us down. I have plenty of fuel here, so we should be able to bring this down relatively close to the KSA. We're going to enter the atmosphere right about here. Bring it down a little bit more. Alright. So that should put us somewhere over here. It's a relatively good landing spot for the KSA. I'm going to slow us down a little bit more. That turned a little more than I thought. Perfect. Alright, we are now in the atmosphere. I do have one more EVA to grab while I can. EVA from the upper atmosphere. And we are going to go to a northerly orientation here, and we're going to decouple. Rotate around. This is my landing protocol. We want to be about 35 degrees. So it'll give us a little bit of lift and help us slow down. And we're just going to descend in. It won't take too long. We're going to fly over the Kerbal Space Center, KSC, and we'll probably land over here, just southerly of this island. Alright, so when descending, you kind of want to keep your nose just a little bit above your retrograde marker. That allows your heat shield to be a lifting surface, and it'll sort of bring you into a slow glide rather than a plummet. It tends to keep you in the heat, or heating up a lot longer. You're not slowing down as quickly, but it creates those frictional forces. Alright, we're about to get out of the plasma here. I'm going to take SAS off and let the capsule guide us down. Beautiful. Jebediah Kerbin was the first Kerbal to go to orbit, so this descent is pretty straightforward. I'm going to cut the episode off here because we're running out of time. But thanks for watching, and I look forward to seeing you guys for episode 7.